15, 20 minutes, I guess. Yeah. Boring either way.
Yeah.
And we got the thumbs up, so we are going to go ahead and call to order the meeting of the Oakdale City Council, January 23rd, 2024. Sarah, will you take the roll?
Councilmember Herr,
Here?
Councilmember Ingebrigtsen,
Here.
Councilmember Morcom,
Here.
Councilmember Willenbring,
Here.
Mayor Zabel.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Alrighty, everybody. We have a full agenda tonight. We have some very cool things to tackle. First things first is administering the oath of office to 6 new firefighters in our community. This is something new for Oakdale. We've always done it for the police department, but we definitely want to take the opportunity to recognize the firefighters that raised their hand and live out a commitment to our community and our residents and guest safety every single day. And so this is a pretty cool opportunity for us as a city council to recognize this commitment as well as a community. So to kick things off, I'm going to invite Fire Chief Wold, wherever he went, there he is, to come on down. Before you start, just a quick run through of how we're going to tackle this, because we've got 6 firefighters. So Chief Wold is going to, you can step up to the podium, that's fine. Chief Wold will introduce, I'm going to come down there in a little bit. Chief Wold will introduce all of our firefighters. I will come down and administer the oath of office. I believe every firefighter is being pinned by a family member or loved one. So we will invite them up to do that, and then invite anybody in the audience, family, friends, whoever, to come out, take a photo with that individual firefighter. We will get through all 6, and then take some photos with the firefighters and city council, and then the department as a whole. I think that's everything, right? Did I get everything? Oh, and then we have to do some paperwork. We have to sign the oaths of office, the chief and I and the firefighters. So I will come down there. Chief, if you want to kick things off with comments, please feel free.
Yeah, can I just say a few words as you're walking down? So good evening, Mayor and members of the council. So thank you for allowing our fire department to come here tonight. We have 6 firefighters to be sworn in. All of these firefighters have completed all the required training, 1 year of probation, all their certifications, and they're here upon you tonight. One unique thing is these are the last 6 firefighters that took us to being a fully career department, from combination, from volunteer to combination, and then fully career. So these were the last important piece to get us to that spot. All of these firefighters come with a wide, many years of experience, and we're grateful for that, from where they came from now that they're here to serve our community. So preference on who you want to start with? Okay. So Andy Atwater. Andy Atwater was hired November 7th of 2022. He comes to us with 14 years of experience in the fire service.
Thank you, Chief Wold. All right, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Andy Atwater. I, Andy Atwater, firefighter for the city of Oakdale.
I, Andy Atwater, firefighter for the city of Oakdale.
Will support the Constitution of the United States of America.
Will support the Constitution.
Constitution of the state of Minnesota. And the ordinances of the city of Oakdale.
The ordinances of the city of Oakdale.
I will do my duty to the best of my ability.
I will do my duty to the best of my ability.
And serve my commanding officers and subordinates.
I will serve my commanding officers.
Respect and dignity.
Respect.
I understand that there is a responsibility as a firefighter.
I understand this responsibility.
Serve with compassion,
Serve with compassion,
dedication, honor, and integrity. I will uphold the highest professional standards
I will uphold highest professional standards
and proud traditions
and proud traditions
of the Oakdale Fire Department.
of the Oakdale.
Congratulations. friends that would like to come up and help out, please feel free.
Go ahead. This dude. Smile.
Alright, count of three. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Nicholas Danley.
Nick Danley was hired September 19th, 2022. Nick started with us as a volunteer firefighter. He's got over 14 years experience in the fire service.
All right, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Nicholas Danley, firefighter for the city of Oakdale,
I, Nicholas Stanley, firefighter for the city of Oakdale,
will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the state of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the state of Minnesota,
the ordinances of the city of Oakdale,
the ordinances of the city of Oakdale.
and I will do my duty to the best of my ability
I will do my duty to the best of my ability
and serve my commanding officers and subordinates
and serve my commanding officers and subordinates
with respect and dignity.
with respect and dignity.
I understand that there is a responsibility as a firefighter
I understand there is a responsibility as a firefighter
to serve with compassion,
to serve with compassion,
dedication,
dedication,
honor,
honor,
and integrity.
and integrity.
I will uphold the highest professional standards
I will uphold the highest professional standard
and proud traditions
and proud traditions
of the Oakdale Fire Department.
of the Oakdale Fire Department.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Count of three. 1, 2, 3.
Oh.
1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
Mitchell Griser.
Come on up, Mitch. Mitch Griser, hired also November 7th, 2022, comes with 6 years of experience.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Mitchell Griser, firefighter for the city of Oakdale,
I, Mitchell Griser, firefighter, City of Oakdale,
will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the state of Minnesota,
Constitution of the State of Minnesota,
and the ordinances of the city of Oakdale.
and the ordinances of the City of Oakdale.
I will do my duty to the best of my ability
I will do my duty with the best of my ability
and serve my commanding officers and subordinates
and serve my commanding officers and subordinates
with dignity and respect.
with dignity and respect.
I understand that there is a responsibility as a firefighter
I understand there's responsibility as a firefighter
to serve with compassion,
to serve with compassion,
dedication,
dedication,
honor,
honor,
and integrity.
and integrity.
I will uphold the highest professional standards
I will uphold the highest professional standards
and proud traditions
and proud traditions
of the Oakdale Fire Department.
of the Oakdale Fire Department.
Congratulations.
Oh, boy.
Joseph. Kurpis? Perfect.
Yep. So Shane was also hired November 2022. He was also started out as a volunteer. He has over 17 years' experience with us.
All right, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Joseph Kurpis, firefighter for the city of Oakdale,
I, Joseph Kurpis, firefighter for the city of Oakdale,
will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the state of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the state of Minnesota,
and the ordinances of the city of Oakdale.
and the ordinances of the city of Oakdale.
I will do my duty to the best of my ability
I will do my duty to the best of my ability
and serve my commanding officers and subordinates
and serve my commanding officers and subordinates
with respect and dignity.
with respect and dignity.
I understand that there is a responsibility as a firefighter
I understand there's responsibility as a firefighter
to serve with compassion,
to serve with compassion,
dedication,
dedication,
honor,
honor,
and integrity.
and integrity.
I will uphold the highest professional standards
I will uphold the highest professional standards
and proud traditions
and proud traditions
of the Oakdale Fire Department.
the Oakdale Fire Department.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You have to have a picture.
One, two.
My fellow Kevin O'Neill.
Kevin O'Neill was hired November 2022. He comes to us with 18 years' experience in the fire service.
Look at all these Kevins. I love it. Best name. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Kevin O'Neill, firefighter for the city of Oakdale,
I, Kevin O'Neill, firefighter for the city of Oakdale,
will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the state of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the state of Minnesota,
and the ordinances of the city of Oakdale.
and the ordinances of the city of Oakdale.
I will do my duty to the best of my ability
I will do my duty to the best of my ability
and serve my commanding officers and subordinates
and serve my commanding officers and subordinates
with respect and dignity.
with respect and dignity.
I understand that there is a responsibility as a firefighter
I understand that there's a responsibility as a firefighter
to serve with compassion,
to serve with compassion,
dedication,
dedication,
honor,
honor,
and integrity.
and integrity.
I will uphold the highest professional standards
I will uphold the highest professional standards
and proud traditions
and proud traditions
of the Oakdale Fire Department.
of the Oakdale Fire Department.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Chief Wold, bring us home.
Michael Streff, hired November 29, 2022, comes to us with 18 years of experience in the fire service.
All right, Michael, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Michael Streff, firefighter for the city of Oakdale,
I, Michael Streff, firefighter for the city of Oakdale,
will support the Constitution of the United States of America,
support the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the state of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the United States of America,
the Constitution of the state of Minnesota,
the Constitution of the state of Minnesota,
and the ordinances of the city of Oakdale.
and the ordinances of the city of Oakdale.
I will do my duty to the best of my ability
I will do my duty to the best of my ability
and serve my commanding officers and subordinates
and serve my commanding officers and subordinates
with respect and dignity.
with respect and dignity.
I understand that there is a responsibility as a firefighter
I understand that there is a responsibility as a firefighter
to serve with compassion,
to serve with compassion,
dedication,
dedication,
honor,
honor,
and integrity.
and integrity.
I will uphold the highest professional standards
I will uphold the highest professional standards
and proud traditions
and proud traditions
of the Oakdale Fire
of
Department.
the Oakdale Fire Department.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We should give him Velcro.
More family, come on.
One, two, three.
Have all of our firefighters and our city council, as well as our chief and deputy chief, come on down.
Need a wide angle lens for this one.
Yep, everybody come on. Slide down. Sorry, chief. Be left in. Lauren, you got us all?
I need to move back. Could you scoot together just a touch more, please? Touch more. That's it.
Awfully close here.
Count to three. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
And then let's get the department.
Good job, Mayor. 2030th.
Touch more. That looks great. Count to three. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2.
Sorry.
Thank you.
One for me, one for them.
Oh, super. Okay.
Yeah.
Chief, got a pen? No. There you go, I got one. There you go. Find a piece of countertop. And Kevin will be after that.
I see us waving at no matter. I was trying to ring your bell and get your attention. It's like,
Come on, Chris, look at us. You're my old damn world, whatever. Congratulations, guys. Thank you for being a guinea pig. We've never done this before. Yeah, right.
try them out next to that.
It was a lot. So, I have to shorten that speech a little bit.
You need another pen? Paperwork. Oh, there's 2 copies.
Well, they can take them when I get done with them.
Oh. Whoever wants to sign in blue. Alrighty, and we're back. While our new firefighters and city staff take care of some paperwork and signing their oaths of office, we can keep things going up here. Next up on the agenda, we have the approval of the agenda. Council members, I'm gonna suggest one small change, and that is moving the item under community development, Twin Cities Towing, up on the agenda immediately following approval of the minutes. Purpose for this is we need to work with our city staff a little bit more, so we're just going to table this item and not take action on it tonight. So being respectful of anybody in the audience that might be here for that item, we're not going to be taking action, so we can just clear that out of the way. And if people want to stick around, they can. But so council members, can I get a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Final comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And we have an amended agenda. Next up, approval of the minutes. First up, a set from the workshop, January 9th, 2024. Council members, any changes or corrections? I'll look for a motion.
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Final comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And those minutes are approved. Next up, we have a set of regular meeting minutes from January 9th, 2024. Council members, any changes or corrections? Seeing none, I'll look for a motion.
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Final comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And those minutes are approved as well. Next up, we have our slight adjustment, item under staff reports, community development, a conditional use permit application for Twin Cities Towing at 2741 and 2751 Geneva Avenue North. Council members, can I get a motion to table?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that item is tabled. Good? Chris, got everything? Perfect. Next up, public hearings. We got question for Jim Thompson. Separate public hearing for both, initiating the project and.
Yes, that's typically how we do it.
All right. So next up on the agenda are public hearings related to City Project 2024-01, our street improvement and reconstruction project, as well as the assessment role for that project. First things first, let's talk about the city project. Staff presentation?
Yep.
City Engineer Jesse Farrell, come on down.
Thank you, Mayor. Just gonna get this queued up here. Got quiet in here.
Right.
Oh, there we go. Thanks. So, thank you, Mayor and Council. So tonight, we'll be discussing the 2024 Street Improvement Project. Tonight's a big, important step of the process. Tonight, there's multiple hearings. So there's an improvement hearing where we focus on the improvements, what kind of takes place during construction, and then the assessment hearing. Both hearings are important steps of the 429 process. State statute that guides how cities can specially assess benefiting property owners on projects. So just for brief background, the last time this was before the council was at the December 12th meeting. It was at that meeting that the council considered and accepted the feasibility report. The feasibility report is available, obviously, for the council and for the public. It's on our website. And the feasibility report goes into great detail about the need for the project, what gets done during the project, all the details about how it's paid for, anticipated to be paid for, and it also includes the assessment role. So the feasibility report is really a very thorough explanation of why we're at this point. So following that meeting, the council ordered these hearings. So again, tonight we have the assessment hearing and we have the improvement hearing. So I'll go through a presentation. We'll also invite Brad from SEH. He's our consultant lead So at any point in time, SEH has 5 or 6 professionals out on the site. We always want to have at least one representative out there. And any resident that's impacted by this project, they'll get a letter that has a cell phone number for somebody that's out there all the time. So we have really good customer service on these projects, and we make ourselves available. So with that, I'll start my presentation. Yeah, absolutely. So tonight, we have the public improvement hearing and then public assessment hearing. For our 2 hearings, first we have the improvement hearing. That's the why, what, when. We'll describe the improvements. We'll hear neighborhood testimony, and we'll ask for council deliberation and ordering of the improvement project. That requires a 4/5 vote. Following that, we'll have the assessment hearing. That's how we pay for how the city pays for one portion of the project. We'll describe the project financing. Again, hear neighborhood testimony, and then ask the council to deliberate and consider adopting the assessment role and ordering plans. So the objective of the improvement project, it's primarily based on the pavement condition of streets. Over time, most of these streets, they range from 30 to 40 years old. So over time, these streets have degraded and the pavement is in poor shape. It's also to contain maintenance expenditures. Every year, the cost of maintenance, whether it's potholes, crack sealing, as these streets age, the maintenance needs and costs go up. We also use these projects, it's in council city policy that when we do these street reconstruction projects, we also upgrade our lighting. So we'll get into detail on that, but we replace with LED lighting that's more efficient from an energy use standpoint and from a maintenance standpoint. And then some of the streets that we're proposing for reconstruction this year also presently have load limits. So reconstructing the pavement will allow us to restore proper load limits. So this is a graph us engineers like showing, and it's just basically the maintenance cost and condition over age. And so on the y-axis, we have the pavement condition, and 100 is brand new. So if the council proceeds with this project, by about August, the pavement out there will be at a 100. If the council did nothing, after a long time, the street would get down to a 0. Streets in this area range in that 40 to 70 range, which, you know, if there were letter grades, it'd be between like an F and a C. And so over time, after about 40 years, typical pavement will get destroyed both by traffic and by the environment. And so right now we're at that 30 to 40 year range, and that's why these streets are proposed for reconstruction. Again, this map here, so this presentation will be available on our website, so anybody can go through this PowerPoint and zoom in on these graphics. It's a little hard to see, but we keep really good track of pavement condition here in Oakdale. This map here depicts the entire city and every street in the city that we maintain, and then it's coded in terms of its pavement condition. So the red streets are bad, and then the blue streets are streets that have been reconstructed very recently. And then this is another map. We keep track of where we post load limits. So right now, some of the neighborhood streets for this year's project do have load limits. So that'll impact some larger trucks or deliveries. They'll have to get an exemption to come into this neighborhood just because the pavement has degraded. And this last map, all the red that you see on this are all the streets that have been reconstructed by the city of Oakdale over the last 30 years. So between 1992 and last year, we've reconstructed almost the entire city. There's just a few gaps. And so again, you know, I invite the audience or anyone watching, you could click on this presentation and the red streets have been fully reconstructed. The streets that aren't highlighted in red still haven't been. And so right now there's a big gap for where we're proposing work in 2024. So with that, I'd like to introduce Brad from SEH. Again, he's the consultant lead for our consulting engineer. SEH has been very helpful to Oakdale over the last 30 years. They've been a big part of why we've been successful with our reconstruction projects. Brad oversees a group including surveyors, and the most popular people out there are the inspection technicians. Those are the individuals that will oversee making sure things are compacted properly, and Brad will get into all that. And a big thing that they provide out there, and city staff as well, as customer service. So if somebody has their boat in their driveway and they need it out for that weekend for a fishing tournament, we'll know about that ahead of time. So if we have to pour curb and gutter, we'll arrange, to go to a neighbor's driveway, or if people have problems getting their mail delivered, or all the different things, the challenges associated with construction, we like to solve all those problems on the spot. And SEH, Brad and his team do a wonderful job with that. So Brad, if you'd like to come up.
Brad, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. So what we're going to look at is some of the existing conditions of the proposed project, what we're looking at for correction, and kind of the timeline, what we're going to be doing. What we're looking at here is Hadley Avenue North. This is the main road that we're going to be reconstructing as part of the 2024 reconstruction project. Hadley Avenue was predominantly constructed in 1993, with the north end and the south end constructed in 1983 and 1985. The existing utilities are primarily still in good condition. However, the surfacing has exceeded its life design and needs to be replaced. There's cracking and delamination that needs to be addressed, as well as the trail adjacent to Hadley Avenue on the west side, which is showing some cracking and needs to be replaced as well. This is 47th Street. This was also constructed in 1993, showing a lot of surface failures, whether it be cracking, some curb settlement, and also does not have the city standard LED lighting in that area that would be addressed with this project. Again, in the same area as 48th Street, showing the same conditions. A lot of cracking. It has some repair over the years. There's a good example of settled curb next to the catch basin on the left-hand side if you look at it. A lot of these areas have already been addressed, assessed, and will be part of the reconstruction process. This is 49th Street, again, constructed in 1993 and will be addressed in the same manner. And I seem to have hit the wrong button on that one. Fair enough. This is why I should always bring my own clicker. Hit reset. Wonderful. Thank you. Appreciate it, Jesse. All right. Moving forward. We'll get this right yet. And now I've lost all control. Let's see. Yeah, it wasn't advancing. I'll use that. There we go. All right. When in doubt, try another way. We do the same thing out in the field in construction. So the proposed improvements, as were identified on the map, include Hadley Avenue North from 40th Street North to 50th Street North, 46th Street Circle from 46th Street to the cul-de-sac, 46th Street North from Hadley Avenue North to the east intersection of Hamlet Avenue North, 47th Street North from Hadley Avenue North to Hamlet Avenue North, 47th Street Circle North from 47th Street to the cul-de-sac, 47th Street Court North from 47th Street to the cul-de-sac, Hale Avenue North from 46th Street to 47th Street, Hamlet Avenue North from 46th Street North to 47th Street North, 48th Street North from Hadley Avenue to the north cul-de-sac, and 49th Street North from Hadley Avenue North to the cul-de-sac. So these improvements are going to include pavement rehabilitation, streetlight fixture replacement to LED. As Jesse alluded to, the picture that you're seeing right now would be the upgraded LED fixture and light pole that we would utilize on Hadley Avenue. However, in the residential area, we would use the other city standard, which is a shorter concrete pole with an acorn pendant on top with a high-efficiency LED. Also, we'll be looking at spot utility repairs. That would include the fire hydrant and gate valves, sanitary sewer repairs, storm sewer repairs, clean out sediment pond inlets and outlets, and street sign evaluation and replacement. So the construction process is going to start with pavement reclamation. What that includes is the contractor grinds up the existing asphalt surface, blends it with the existing aggregate base to be reused when we reconstruct the street, so there is no waste in that process. After that, we'll be grading the area so the residents will have access to drive through the construction site. At that time, we'll be doing utility repair replacement. That'll be both public and private. Now, the utility repair in this particular project is not going to be extensive, so we don't see a lot of issues getting in and out of there. It's going to be mostly surface improvements. And again, we'll be replacing the street light poles and the LED fixtures. And then the base course of pavement will be installed at that time. After that time, we'll be doing cast iron adjustments. That's when we actually raise the manhole lids to the surface. And then after all the curb restoration is done, we'll be doing the boulevard restoration. That will include hauling in black dirt and putting sod in that area. And then the final workhorse will be installed. So with any project, there's always substantial challenges, some major, some minor. On this, some of these that we just wanted to quickly address is access for the residents. As I alluded to before, there's not a lot of utility, a deep utility reconstruction or spot repair that would require excessive excavation. So those access issues will be smaller with this project. However, as we do see access issues coming up during stages of the different project, we'll be addressing those with the contractor to minimize those, as well as coordinate that and communicate to the residents so they can make an informed decision as we move closer to that. Also, mail delivery. Oftentimes we get questions about mail delivery, whether or not their mail is going to be interrupted. By and large, we try not to interrupt the mail service. However, when it is necessary, we will coordinate and communicate that with the residents, and we'll provide temporary mailboxes that they will have access to during that process. Working hours, as typical, will be 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Friday. Any work before or after that or on the weekend will have to be approved by City Council. And then the site representatives, we will have representatives on site at all times. As Jesse said, we do pride ourselves on communication. We feel that it's just a better overall feel for the project. Not only can we communicate things that we're seeing, but the residents can communicate back to us in case they have any questions, challenges, things that we can address in a timely manner. This is an overview of the north side of the project. This is showing the streetlight allocation. These are the ones that are existing. We aren't looking to add any existing lighting, but these are the locations that we're going to be replacing the current with new city standard. And this is the south end of the project on Hadley towards 40th. Again, we'll be replacing those existing streetlights in their current locations. This is a cross section of the street on Hadley Avenue. This shows what materials that we're going to be using, the widths and the depths. Per city standard, we're going to be replacing Hadley Avenue with 4 inches of asphalt. Again, this is another cross section of the construction standards that we'll be utilizing with the project. This is with the residential streets where we utilize 3.5 inches of asphalt. So the process, on November 8th, we held a neighborhood meeting, presented a feasibility report to the council on December 12th, and currently we're in the stage of the public hearing. After this hearing in March, we'll look for plan approval. In April, we'll look to award the contract, and late May, we'll look to start the project. And then we're looking at a final completion date of late August. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Farrell.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So the next steps for the council are to hear the neighborhood testimony, the council deliberations, and then a council decision on whether the project should be ordered, modified, or canceled. And just a reminder, this step requires a 4/5 majority.
Thank you, Jesse. Council members, any questions for our city engineer right off the bat? Well, I have some. For the streetlights that are being replaced on Hadley, are those using the existing footings or foundations for the streetlights that are currently there, or do those get replaced?
My understanding is it'll just be the street poles.
So my concern with that is, you know, we've done other sections of Hadley south of 40th Street in recent years, making that same change. And I noticed today when I was walking by that a number of those streetlights are leaning into the street. I wonder if that's because of the added reach out over the street than what the old shoebox style lights used to do. But if we're just reusing footings that are for light posts that are different sizes, weights, compositions, and we're having a problem with them leaning over our streets, why are we just using the same old instead of putting in something to respond to the light fixture that will be there?
Thank you, Mayor. Very good question. My presumption is that the footing has been analyzed and found to be adequate, but perhaps there's some truing that needs to be done. But in the event that it is inadequate, we would revise the scope to include improved foundations. Obviously, that costs money, so we would come to the council with more information, but I'll definitely look into that. And with our neighborhood-styled light poles, those are direct embed, and those are easier to adjust. But the ones with the poured foundation, I do need to get more information on that, but I really appreciate the notification, and we'll definitely look into that, not only on this project, but in other locations for that installation.
Okay. My other question is, what role, if any, did the city's bike and pedestrian plan play in drawing up these project specs? I'm very surprised to see a number of streetlights along Hadley. I think it's 42nd or 43rd around the Discovery Center, remaining on the east side, not on the side with the trail. As a city, we spent years, numerous years, and a lot of taxpayer money creating a bike and pedestrian plan, where one of the most common pieces of feedback we got from our community was, wanting a focus on safety and lighting. And now we have a generational opportunity to put those lights on the trail where personally I feel like they belong and they've always should have been. But the feasibility report is just saying, well, do what we have currently versus fixing or changing what we've done in the past. Where did the bike and ped plan come into this design, if at all, and why aren't those lights being moved over?
Those are great questions, Mayor and Council. So generally speaking, the collector streets have taller light poles. With a taller light pole, you meet minimum lighting standards, more for vehicles. To meet better light standards at a pedestrian scale would require more lights. They're typically less expensive, but you have more of them. So I could absolutely, if the council proceeds with this improvement project and takes the steps tonight, including ordering plans and specifications, they haven't been put together yet, we could absolutely look at including that in our scope and then bring it back to the council. My presumption is that would cost more, but it doesn't mean that the council shouldn't be brought that information for their consideration.
Okay, but my question is, why haven't we been? We adopted this bike and ped plan, I think, in November, so it's fresh on everybody's mind, and I'm not quite following the comment about we would need more lights. Currently we have no lights along 4 or 5 blocks of city trail. Well, we do on the opposite side of the street. So I'm trying to get at, why isn't there synergy between what we've already said and our community has said is a priority and a $3.7 million city project? That's what I'm struggling with, is like, you're asking us to approve this project, but we've had feedback from our residents for years now, and it's not getting incorporated into the project.
So if it's the will of the council, we'll absolutely include pedestrian scale lighting along the trail for Hadley. This is a great time to include it in the plans. So if the council orders the project and orders plans and specifications, this is a great time to make that revision. And I think it's a great idea. It is consistent with our bike and ped plan. In Minnesota, it's dark for, seems like 6 months of the year. So I think it's a real thoughtful inclusion.
But how do we initiate a project when we don't know the cost? You just alluded that there's probably going to be an additional cost to move those light posts over to the other side. Mm-hmm. How do we initiate a project that has a funding plan in it, embedded within it, 84% coming from city, however much coming from utility reserves, 16% coming from special assessments, when there's this lingering lingering cost hanging out there? So I'm struggling with, we can change this. How do we do that after we've already initiated the project?
Well, thankfully tonight, it's the improvement hearing and the assessment hearing. So that's really the only thing being finalized tonight. The scope of the improvements can always be expanded or contracted at the will of the council. Again, I think it's a really thoughtful suggestion to have pedestrian scale lighting and add that to the project. This is the time, because we haven't created plans and specifications yet. Following past practice, we would replace the light poles in place, but this would be a higher level of service. And if it's the will of the council to move in that direction and provide that higher level of service, we'll absolutely include that in the plans and specifications. And we could probably get a revised estimate for that alternative just in a few days.
Okay. Council members, any other questions? So I got a text from our city administrator reminding me that they gave me a script that it was under my laptop, and it answered my question that I asked Jim before, whether we need 1 or 2 hearings. So if I would have just read through my materials, we would have been okay. But there is stuff in here I need to cover now. So before we open the public hearing, good evening. We're here tonight to consider the improvements and assessments for the 2024 street reconstruction project. 2 separate hearings will be held. See, answer right there. First hearing will be to review the project or the street reconstruction project, and the second hearing will review assessments and other financing related to this project. Notice of these hearings has been provided through mail and published in the city's official newspaper. Pioneer Press, right? Yeah, Pioneer Press. I asked the city clerk, Sarah Ludwig, include the affidavit of publication of the hearing notices and the affidavit of mailing in the official record. Shortly, City Attorney Jim Thompson will provide important details related to tonight's proceedings. Before we begin the hearings, I'd like to go over a few ground rules. First and foremost, we ask that everyone treat one another with respect and courtesy. If you wish to speak, please come to the podium and provide your name and address for the record, and try to limit your comments to 3 minutes. If somebody has already shared something similar, no need to repeat what has already been said. Unless there are questions from council at this time, City Attorney Thompson, I'm really all over the script here. Jim, do you have anything to add? I messed up the order.
No, Mr. Mayor, just for the public, the first hearing is on the public improvement. So the issue is if you have any comments on the project, et cetera. Second hearing is for the assessments, and maybe when that gets called, I can give a little summary at that time.
Rights and everything? Yeah. Perfect. Thanks, Jim. So at this time, I invite property owners to comment on the proposed improvements. Please hold your comments or questions regarding the assessments until the assessment hearing. So as I mentioned, if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to step up to the podium, state your name and address of the record, and share whatever's on your mind. Please feel free.
Hello, Margaret Brose, 7062 48th Street North. So I'm one of the townhome owners that are up there. And so first of all, I really appreciate this being taken on as a project, because I've lived here for 8 years and I've seen the construction slowly moving north. I'm wondering, when is it going to be time for my streets to be improved? And so I'm excited for this project. I did have a question about, and I don't know if it's inside or out of the scope, the intersection of 50th and Hadley. The lighting there is really unfortunate, especially since some of the lights have started to go out now. It's a really dangerous intersection. I don't know if that was going to be part of the plan, but basically I just wanted to, offer my excitement and support about this project.
Thank you.
So.
Jesse, do you have anything to add on that lighting?
Mayor and council, and this would be a great time to mention as well that the city and other stakeholders are working with the county. They're going to be reconstructing 50th Street next year as well. So we're going to do our best to coordinate the impacts, but on one hand, all the construction will be done in one season rather than multiple years, but there will be more disruption. I will pass along the street lighting concern at that intersection. We have looked at intersection improvements there, so whether it be a signal or a roundabout, and it didn't meet the criteria for traffic counts. But I'll pass along that concern for lighting, and hopefully one of the 2 projects, Mayor, can help address that concern.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Are there any other individuals that would like to comment on the proposed improvements? Seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing and bring it back up for council questions and consideration. Council members, what do we think? Any questions for staff or general comments?
Maybe, oh, go ahead.
So, yeah, I've got a general comment. Our our street, we live off 31st Street. They did ours last year, and we had a national night out. There was grad parties, and actually, I mean, before I was even on the council, right? So I didn't get any special treatment, but when I called the city and we let them know that during construction there was going to be these certain events at our house, I was surprised at how easy it was to get accommodations from the construction crew, from the team. So that was our first concern as residents when these big projects came forward. And I just encourage anybody that's a part of this project, if you've got events that are important, make sure to reach out in advance and let them know, because they are here to help.
Thank you, Councilmember Morcom. Councilmember Ingebrigtsen.
Yeah, just a comment just about Oakdale streets in general. I mean, I would put our streets up against any municipalities in the metro. You go to St. Paul, Maplewood, there's potholes everywhere, bumps, cracks. And then you know it as soon as you get to Oakdale, because the streets are infinitely better. You know, and I know the cost is painful for people. I get that. But, you know, I can't speak for anybody else up here, but myself as a council member, adequate when it comes to streets isn't adequate. You have to do it before you hit that zero number Jesse talked about. So I just want to comment on that, but I will say this too, that there are county streets that run through Oakdale, and I know we haven't had comments on the streets, but street plowing, and, that's, it is what it is there. But I just want to comment on, that we have a really good plan in place, so.
Thank you. Councilmember Willenbring or Councilmember Herr?
Mr. Mayor, you brought up the concern about the bike and ped plan and the implementation there with some lighting and the possible impact on the finances. How would today's vote in favor of ordering the project to start, how would that impact the financial consideration, and what should I be bringing into consideration when I'm trying to make a decision on behalf of the city?
Councilmember Herr, it sounds like there will be an additional checkpoint when we're approving plans and specifications for the total project. So not a lot of impact in tonight's vote. There will be another stop where we may have to add it in, make a change, adjust funding, but not tonight, it sounds like.
And would it be fair to say, City Administrator Volkers, that since this has come up and there's been some discussion, that likely we'll see a little workshop time on that in the near future? Would that be a possibility?
Councilmember Ingebrigtsen, Councilmember Herr, Mayor Zabel, I wouldn't think it would go to workshop. I think what's going to happen is you get the materials ahead of time for the specs that you're going to be expected to approve. We'll discuss it. If we need to kick it to workshop, we will, but I doubt that will be needed.
Okay.
I would just add, I mean, it may just come down to two options being presented, and then we decide on the fly whether it is or isn't. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll make sure you're informed.
Oh,
and
yeah,
prepped
yeah.
prior,
No,
so.
and I know that.
Yeah.
I wasn't,
That's fair.
a little bit different.
Councilmember Willenbring, anything?
Just one quick thing. To Mayor Zabel's point regarding the bike and ped plan, it was a lot of work and it was costly. And going forward, anything that we do, any kind of improvements on roads, trails, or whatever, want to make sure that we reference that to make sure that we're updating everything according to that plan in the future. Just to your point.
Thank you. All right, let me go back to my script. How about a motion?
I would like to make a motion to waive reading and adopt resolution 2024-06, ordering city project R2024-01, the 2024 street reconstruction.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, final comments, sorry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? And that project is ordered. Next up, we have, let me just stick to my script, jeez. Staff will review assessments and financing related to the project. Jesse,
Thank you, Mayor and
much
Council.
easier, just stick to the script.
So we have a presentation for you that I'll start. So this portion of the meeting is our assessment hearing. The assessment hearing will include a staff presentation, both by me, the city engineer, and our finance director. We'll go through project financing. We'll review local tax distribution. We'll define assessments and we'll touch on our assessment policies. The council will also have an opportunity to hear testimony from the public, and then the council will make a decision on adopting the assessment rule. So first, just at a high level, it's city policy for public projects that there's an assessment to property owners. For street reconstruction, the policy is $54 per frontage foot for residential. Now, it gets complicated on certain streets and if there's townhome associations, but for a single-family home, it's fairly simple. It's $54 per frontage foot up to 80 feet. So last year it was $53. So right now, we've been increasing $1 per year. What's happened over time is that the percentage that is covered by special assessments has become a relatively smaller amount because of inflation. But working with the policy we have, we increased it $1 from last year. So single-family homeowners are paying about $80 more this year than they did last year. The project cost is estimated at approximately $3.7 million. Again, that's an estimate. It should be close, but we'll get more information following preparation of plans and specifications. And then at that point, it goes to bid. So private contractors will look at these plans, look at our specifications, and the council will consider going with the lowest responsible bidder. Of that $3.7 million, approximately $585,000 is proposed to be covered via special assessments. Now, this is using the same formula that the city has applied. It's tried and true for 30 years. It's gone through minor iterations in 2003 and over the last few years, but ultimately, the way this project is being financed is very similar and consistent with how it's been done in past years. Right now, we're looking at utilities system covering $150,000, using $300,000 from the city's street improvement fund, and then that leaves a debt issuance of approximately $2.6 million. With this, I'll invite our finance director to come up and talk a little bit more about special assessments.
Mr. Stasica, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Jesse. So yes, I have a couple slides here just to go through with regards to the special assessments. First one, special assessments defined. In essence, it's a loan spread over 10 years. The interest rate on it will be 2% above the city's rate on the bond sale per our policy. Prepayments may be made on the assessments until October 15th, 2024 without interest. And then we will certify it to the county. It's due by November 30th, and we'll accept payments that will have interest on it through November 15th. Partial prepayments are accepted at a minimum of $500. There are some assessments under that minimum, and we would accept those payments. The first installment, if it goes to the county, if no prepayment, full prepayment is made, would be on the May 2025 property tax statement. And then any remaining principal may be paid at any time in the future, whether it's due to a home sale or other situation. Hardship deferrals are available. Please contact the finance department if interested, and the due date for these deferrals is February 23rd. Here is an example for an 80-foot wide lot of what the assessment would look like if no prepayment was made. It's so the total principal would be the $54 Jesse had mentioned in an earlier slide times 80 is that $4,320, and it's equal annual principal along with the interest assumed at 7% for this, with last payment in 2034. And then my last slide. These are the previously assessed parcels through 2022, 1992 through 2022. And this mirrors an earlier slide that Jesse had presented with regards to the streets improved. And the portion that would be assessed here is in the north, or the top chunk, the more open area near, it's yeah, the northern large area. And yeah, I will pass it back to Jesse.
Thank you, Kyle.
So the council has adopted a policy for projects that include special assessments and just pulled a couple of the pertinent sections. First, this is a project that's initiated by council. And so we've followed this process where the council initiated the project. Right now, the policy is that street lighting shall be included as reconstruction and overlay projects. We'll look at also improving street lighting as part of this project. We followed the process where we've informed the affected property owners, so everyone was invited to a neighborhood meeting, and the city puts this right in the policy that we're required to hold a neighborhood meeting, and then anybody that can't make it to the meeting, we send them the full packet. And we also include our email and phone number, and we'll send out a lot more correspondence following this meeting if the project proceeds, and then also during the project. So communication's a huge part of how we try to make these projects successful. And that's following the policy that the council has set up. Right now, we're at the step of the process, section 4, where the council's already accepted the feasibility report, but now the council is being asked to adopt the assessment role via this assessment hearing, and then order construction plans. And so we'll continue following this process through the duration of this project. And with that, I'm not sure if the mayor's gonna have the city attorney make any comments, but that concludes my presentation. But myself, Brad, and our finance director are all available to answer any questions that the council or the public might have.
Thank you, Jesse. All right, in a minute, I will open the assessment hearing to the public, but let's turn to our city attorney, Jim Thompson, who has some rules to cover. Jim.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, members of the public, yes, the mayor is about to open the assessment hearing now. And this is the time for you to come and speak if you have any questions, concerns, objections to your assessment. In order to take the next step in any assessment appeal, you do have to submit a form tonight at the back of the room. That's one of the preconditions to later on challenging your assessment. You have to file an objection tonight with the city clerk on the form in the back. If you do that, and if the council proceeds with adopting the assessment role tonight, you do have to then take the next step, which is to file it in court, and that has to be done normally 30 days after the resolution tonight is adopted. So it's a very short time frame. So if you do want to challenge your assessment, you want to make sure you follow the steps precisely.
Thank you, Jim. So at this time, I'm going to invite property owners to comment on the proposed assessments. If you'd like to, please step up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and proceed with your comments. Don't be shy. Somebody's got to go first.
Might as well be me.
Perfect.
All right. I'm William Baumeister. My wife Paula is here. We own 6898 Greenwich Lane North. It's located in the Rain Tree Condominium Association in Section 6. Our unit is located in the far end of Greenwich Lane. We've been assessed a whopping, or will be assessed a whopping $270. But I can't believe that anybody's going to look at the Hadley improvement and give us an increase in our market value for anything. And let me explain why. In order for us to use the Hadley and Greenwich Trail intersection, we leave our place, we make a right turn, we drive the entire length of Greenwich Lane in our development. We get to the intersection, we make a left turn. If we make a right turn, we drive 100 feet out to 50th Street. We make that left turn, we drive through all of Raintree. We go past Section 1 of Raintree, Section 2, Section 3, Section 4, and the rest of Section 5. We then get into the adjoining development that actually abuts Hadley, and that is a distance of almost a half a mile. From our place, if we go up to the top floor, we can see where 50th goes past Hadley. And this time of year, if we see a northbound car going northbound on Hadley, we might see a headlight for about 20 feet. The project is so remote from our unit that it will have no market impact. So we're asking that our assessment be stricken from that. I recognize that eventually you're going to be doing 50th, and that is much closer to us, and you're not likely to hear a peep from me on that one. But there's this nice formula. The city engineer was kind enough to explain to me how they came about the assessment and the different ways they could do it. But at the end of the day, and I'm sure Mr. Thompson will tell you, whether you can assess somebody or not is dependent upon how it affects the market value of the property. And in our instance, it doesn't affect our market value at all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions of me?
So at this time, we just have to take public comment, and then we'll have an opportunity for council.
And I did
to
my
have
own
questions.
form.
We'll take it.
Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to speak on the proposed assessments? Going once, going twice. Okay, we're going to go ahead. Well, before I close it, I just want to reiterate something our city attorney said. If you want to appeal, you have to fill out the form before I close the public hearing. So we'll give this gentleman a little grace period. Yeah, you're good, you're in. But if anybody else wants to appeal, please fill out one of those forms and get it to our city clerk. I'm not seeing anybody jump up, so I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. I get a nod from the city attorney, so I'm good. And bring it back up for council questions and comments. Council members, does anybody want to jump in with a question or comment? If not, I will. Probably Jesse. Can you talk to us about the logic behind the Raintree neighborhood being assessed on this project? I've looked at a map, you know, they're at the corner of 50th and Hadley, you know, to the gentleman's point, you know, Hadley isn't even their most direct route out to a main thoroughfare. So how does the city policy, the special assessment policy, gauge whether a property should be assessed or not when they have two access points?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So it does require interpretation and some level of thought into how do you justify it. And so the root is that this entire neighborhood benefits. There's about 310 properties in this area. And the 310 properties can only come and go from 2 points, one on 50th Street, one on Hadley. The speaker's property is in a location where that property would most likely predominantly use the 50th Street access. But collectively, the neighborhood as a whole needs both access points. So a certain amount of frontage, this neighborhood abuts a certain amount of Hadley. And so what we did is we took that total distance and then we multiplied it by our assessment rate and came up with basically how big of the pie is this neighborhood proposed to pay. Then it's a matter of how many slices does it get cut into. We could have put a line through like an arbitrary line or a real line where the different associations are. And the effect of that would be is that some people would get a $0 special assessment now, and people that are proposing it a $270 assessment would get a $540. In that scenario, we might hear from the people in the middle that point to their neighbor and say, well, they go out to Hadley sometimes, and I never, you know. And so at that point in time, you would have a different type of argument, but we could have proceeded in that manner. In that scenario, when 50th Street was done, would be done, and that the special assessments, that pie for 50th Street was split up, the people that had already paid double wouldn't be asked to pay anything, and the people that are currently asked would now have twice the assessment because there'd be less properties participating. So really what it boils down to, the justification for spreading that cost, and that's why the assessment, $270 is a lot of money, but for a special assessment, it is a very small piece of the pie, so to speak. It's my opinion, and I consulted with others, is that these access points benefit the entire neighborhood. A person could make the position that, well, when I drive, I always drive to 50th, or I always drive to Hadley. But they also access it via walking. Somebody might drive to 50th, but might walk to Hadley and use our nice trail and go to the Discovery Center. Another person might order something from Amazon or another delivery service, and the most efficient way might be to come from Hadley or 50th Street. So there's really thousands of scenarios where the two access points become critical, not just for any one property or for half the property, but for the entire 300 properties. Public safety is another huge thing. There's scenarios where that second access point becomes critical. So by that logic, it made sense to spread that cost, split that pie amongst all the 300 properties rather than just half. What will be important for future councils is that when 50th Street is reconstructed, a similar consistent approach is followed where not just half of the property is helping with 50th, but you would take that same logic that these entire 300 properties also benefit from 50th Street. And that will probably be an easier thing for people to imagine just with the elementary school. A lot of people are going to go that way for the elementary school. But no, I absolutely, how assessments are calculated, it's a very prescriptive process, and we followed that process. But where there's a judgment call sometimes is how do you apply it in unique situations.
I have one more question. Jim, I saw you looking at Jim. Oh, okay. So city policy has 3 different assessment amounts: single family, commercial, and multifamily. The Rain Tree neighborhood, as well as the townhomes on the other side of Hadley, I'm not sure what the name is. Thank you. Thank you for the assist. Are being assessed at the single family rate. Why aren't they being assessed at the multifamily rate? And I also, because I noticed in your minutes from the neighborhood meeting that you refer to those properties as multifamily parcels, but we're not assessing them as multifamily parcels. So there's a little disconnect there. So how does policy or the city define multifamily in this respect?
So we applied the residential rate, and that's based on a single family. But I would need to, so our policy is, I've reviewed it a few times, but just not to that level of detail where I could recall it on the spot, Mayor. But not only did I review these, but I also had help from SEH. Todd Blank is our consulting engineer there, and he's been working on these projects for 30 years. And I also reached out to our previous public works director and city engineer, Brian Bachmeyer, to make sure that I was doing it right. And so with all 3 of us on the same page, I'm confident we did it right. But I'd be happy to follow up at a later point in time. Of course, that doesn't help when you're in the middle of an assessment hearing.
No, it sure doesn't. I want to make sure we're being consistent, and if we aren't able to explain why something is or isn't a multifamily, how can we with confidence say, yep, this is the correct rate? I mean, this seems like a gray area that should be a lot clearer, especially when we're talking about money out of our residents' pockets and $3.7 million project cost, but I feel like I'm missing something.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, I have a question of our city attorney. That is a good question. We would have to do, like Jesse mentioned, we'd have to do some research to articulate the way we calculated it, and because we want to make sure it's right. Jim, is it possible to, what are our options? Could we delay this? Okay,
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of council. First of all, now I forgot, did we close the public hearing yet?
We did.
No. Oh,
I thought so, yeah. Okay, and that's fine.
I don't think we did. I
So,
don't think we did neither.
No, we did.
I don't remember it, so there's 2 things. One, you could continue the public hearing, but I don't see a reason to need to do that tonight because everybody who wanted to speak has spoken. So you can close the public hearing. You don't have to act on this tonight. There's no rush. These don't get certified until October or November, sometime in that time frame. So you can defer adopting the resolution until you get the information you want that you feel you need to make a decision. So you have plenty of time just to, table this until staff can come back with the answers to your questions and put it back on the agenda.
And how would I make a motion to table?
I'm going to make a suggestion we move forward because we have residents here tonight. I also don't want to be the one to point out that the multifamily per foot rate is higher than the single-family rate, so I think that'll be wildly unpopular. But I want to make sure we're consistent, especially as we're adding a lot more multifamily in our community. I mean, that is the trend right now. So if this is a gray area, we need to figure it out. But, you know, in my 7 years, nobody's asked that question. And it wasn't until I saw in the minutes from the neighborhood meeting that we're referring to these townhomes as multifamily instead of, you know, single-family homes. So I just want to make sure we're using clear terms, and maybe it's just a mistake in the minutes. And we've always applied the single-family or the residential rate. But I just want to make sure we're consistent.
And my question there is for Jim. Are we looking at issues in the future on appeals if we allow a multifamily to have the single-family rate now, and then someone looks a couple of years down the later that's in a similar situation and has a multifamily rate? Could they come and say, well, that one was a single-family rate, so I should get the single-family rate?
Yes, Mr. Mayorman, Councilman Ingebrigtsen. The assessments have to be fair. A portion, you know, you can't pick one lot, do by front foot, and another lot by an area. You have to have the same methodology within any one assessment. So within this assessment, you do have to treat people similarly situated the same way. But if for whatever reason you did it differently this year than you did last year or might do next year, there's no issues there. You just have to do it fairly this year. And cities do change their assessment policies from time to time. And so I don't see any problem there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Council members, questions or comments?
So just to clarify, the multifamily is at a higher rate, correct?
It is.
Okay.
And I assume we've always applied the single-family rate. I don't know, though.
According to the research, that's.
Yeah,
Mr.
we
Mayor,
look at the assessment roll from previous years, yeah.
Mr. Farrell indicated he talked to Mr. Bachmeyer and reached his conclusion. If Mr. Bachmeyer said this is how we've always done it,
Right.
I would tend to think that's probably correct. Now, having said that, if you were to adopt the resolution to approve the assessments tonight, and some new information comes to light, you can always amend that resolution. You can change it later on if you want to. So, but I would be fairly confident that Mr. Bachmeyer knows the history to this, but I mean, I'll defer to the engineering staff on that.
Mr. Mayor.
City Administrator Volkers.
Yep, Mr. Mayor, City Council, can we defer to Mr. Farrell? Is that what you said, that Mr. Bachmeyer said, this is always how we've done it for multifamily?
Well, so him and I worked on this together, and he double-checked it. But my understanding is, so the multifamily is called out in our policy, but then it's not defined. So my recollection is that multifamily was more residential property that were apartments, but not townhomes. But I'm just not 100% on that. So, and unfortunately, you know, the policy was updated in 2021, but the definitions were not clearly defined. But I also agree with the city attorney that with Brian's assistance, the important thing is that we're consistent and we're interpreting multifamily the same way that we had in the past. It was just, it's just kind of an interesting break where you have single family. I mean, you could have multi-families in a single family home. So it's, you know, it's an interesting definition. And my understanding is we've applied it this way in the past consistently. And then the end result would be that, at least in 2003, it'd be $15 more per foot. And so it would increase the assessments for all the townhomes on this project. My inclination is to suggest that we'd be inconsistent with how we've done it in previous years, how we've interpreted multifamily. We do plan on bringing this for an update for the council. So again, this was updated in 2021 and 2020. I do see some opportunities for improvement and clarification in this policy. This would be one of those things. Another is that the increase of this prescribes that it goes up $1 per foot per year, which is a council decision. But if it's the will of the council to follow inflation somewhat, it's inadequate in that regard. And so one way or another, it might be that the assessments would likely be more expensive in the future than they are today, which is a good message for people in this project.
Council members, I'm going to suggest we move forward. And if a change needs to be made, it sounds like, according to City Attorney Thompson, we have an option down the road if it needs to.
That's correct.
Does that sound okay?
That's correct, yes.
All right. Any final comments? I will look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to waive reading and adopt Resolution 2024-07, adopting the assessment role for City Project R 2024-01, the 2024 street reconstruction, in the amount of $585,522.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second?
Motion and a second. Final comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the assessment roll is adopted. Back to the agenda. It's one of these pieces of paper up here. Open forum. Open forum is an opportunity on our agenda for anybody in the audience who would like to step up to the podium and share with us whatever's on their mind. Please feel free. Similar rules to the public hearing. We ask that you start with stating your name and address for the record, share whatever is on your mind, try to keep comments to 3 minutes or so, and of course, the golden rule absolutely applies. We ask for respect and courtesy. So if you'd like to share anything on your mind, please feel free to step up to the podium. Seeing none, we'll keep moving forward and go into consensus motions. These are non-controversial items on our agenda. Council members, we have A through I in front of us. Are there any that council members would like to pull for individual consideration? All right, I'll look for a motion.
Make a motion to approve consensus motions A through I as presented.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Final comments. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And A through I are approved. Next up is an opportunity to check in with our advisory boards and commissions. The only one that met was the tree board. I filled in for Councilmember Willenbring. Mind if I take a crack at the summary? They worked on their, well, it started off with an appreciation dinner for their work last year. We also did a little strategic thinking for the year ahead. They worked on their work plan for 2024, also nailed down some dates for city events. So they have the Arbor Day tree giveaway, the spring planting event, as well as the fall buckthorn removal event. So they're trying to make those dates consistent, on a fixed, like, second Saturday of this month, so easy planning going forward. So they are invigorated. They know we have a lot to do in terms of tree canopy, and they're ready to get to work. So, and they had their chair and vice chair elections. Board of bids, nothing. Staff reports, we moved community development up and took care of that. City attorney, Jim, you're back. Anything?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, nothing specific to report. Happy to answer questions, though.
Anybody have questions for Jim? All right, let's turn to our right and check in with our city administrator, Chris Volkers.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council. The only thing I have is I want to make sure we publicly recognize that the city of Oakdale did recently receive the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting for our comprehensive financial report for fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022. They're always quite a bit behind when they do this. So it's been audited, certified, and now we received the award. The award was presented to us by GFOA, which is short for Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada. Okay, it's a mouthful, okay?
You can't leave out Canada.
Yeah, right. GFOA, let's just say that. The award that we received is the highest form of recognition that we can receive for governmental accounting and financial reporting. And I just want to specifically acknowledge our professional and dedicated finance staff, and which is now led by our recently promoted finance director, Kyle Stasica. And so we're really grateful for them and for all the work they do. So we're very proud of that award. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Chris, and a big congratulations to Kyle and his team. Government numbers aren't the most sexiest field in the world, but they do a phenomenal job in keeping our books clean, being transparent, and keeping account of taxpayers' hard-earned dollars. So thank you, Kyle, and the finance department. Council presentations. Anybody want to share anything that's going on? How about down here? Anything? No. How about over here?
for me.
Anything? All right. Well, I got a few. We have some very important events coming up, so we want to make the community aware of that. First is this Thursday, January 25th. The city is hosting an open house here at City Hall for the public to learn more about the construction of our new public works facility. It's taking place from 5 to 7 p.m. here at City Hall. Staff will be available to discuss the project scope, the project schedule, and final plans, including showing off some architectural renderings. This was one of the two projects that is being financed with the local option sales tax that the voters approved 2 Novembers ago. Yeah, it's 2024 now, so in November 2022. So Thursday, January 25th, 5 to 7 p.m. here at City Hall. We also have our indoor market returning to the Discovery Center this Saturday, January 27th, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. There will be over 20 local vendors offering a unique variety of items. Don't make the mistake I did when I went, 2 weeks ago. I got there at like 12:15, and it was pretty picked over. So if you want to get a good selection, go there early. Just stop and say hi to the vendors. They'd love to see everybody too. So lots to choose from. Final event I want to highlight for the community is MnDOT is hosting an in-person public meeting on Tuesday, January 30th, a week from today, 5 to 7 p.m. at the Discovery Center. This will be an opportunity for the public to learn more about potential improvements to Highway 120, Century Avenue, Geneva Avenue, Division Avenue, whatever you want to call it, between I-94 and 694. This has been a topic of conversation in our community for a very long time, and to see our partners at the state, as well as our partners in Ramsey and Washington County, moving forward, taking public input, floating ideas of how to improve this highway is definitely, we're glad to see that progress moving forward. So just a reminder, next Tuesday, a week from today, January 30th, from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Discovery Center, 4444 Hadley Avenue North. So please come on out and chat with MnDOT. Public Works is still disposing of natural Christmas trees through the end of the month. If you still have one up, I bet it's pretty crispy by now. But if you want to get rid of it, you can take it to the Public Works campus, 1900 Hadley Avenue North, and they will mulch it up. There is a cost of $3 per tree. When you get there, just pop into the Public Works office, and they will direct you where to go. Finally, we have an exciting contest taking place, naming the new city park in the Willowbrook neighborhood. We are inviting all residents to submit their ideas in the park naming contest. It is now open through February 5th. So if you have some ideas, head over to our city website, oakdalemn.gov, and submit your ideas. Submissions should capture the character of the park and neighborhood or relate to Oakdale history. So you can go a number of directions with that. But it's going to be a pretty cool park coming to our community. A lot of amenities for kids, accessible amenities, performance stage, a lot of cool stuff. So we just need a cool name to go with it. Finally, I'll add one plug. There is voting for the presidential primary going on right now. You can do that by voting early at the county service center sites. And then I believe we have early voting here on February 16th?
Yes.
Yes. So that will be an option. I think it's about 2 weeks or so before the March 5th presidential nominating primary. You'll be able to vote here at City Hall. So if you want more info, mnvotes.org. Org? Yeah, mnvotes.org. You can type in your address, they'll tell you where to go. So, we got bills to pay. What's so funny about that?
Tell us where to go.
It's fine. That's a different conversation. All right, claims. We have claims roster in front of us January 10th through January 23rd, 2024, in the amount of $1,348,954.70. Can I get a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the claims as presented.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Final comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the bills are paid. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Somebody. Motion, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you and good night.
So we can't be in the council meeting.